A journey many of us shared was the Battle of the Bryans in 1988. It was the quintessential Olympic competition because of two extraordinary men, Brian Orser and Brian Boitano. Over the months I spent choreographing Boitano's programs, I learned more than ever the commitment it takes to pursue a dream.
You know, for me, the Olympic Games in Calgary, that was it. I knew there would be no more Olympic chances. Brian Boitano and I delivered exactly what was expected of us. The script was written, and we just followed it beautifully. Not quite as beautifully as I would have liked it to have ended. I actually scripted a different ending to the story, but we went exactly the way it was supposed to go.
I will read you now the results of the short program alone. First is Brian Orser. Second is Brian Boitano.
The last time Brian Orser and I talked about the Olympics was on tour a month after the Olympics. And what we decided was that nobody could really understand what we went through, but we could understand each other. We knew what it was like to be out there. So there's like a brotherhood between us and in that situation. And probably one of the most important and meaningful moments and nights of our life.
I knew going into Olympics in Calgary there'd be a huge media frenzy. I knew that everybody would be grabbing for a little piece of my time.
The final warm-up in the men's event.
I was so conditioned for it, mentally, physically, of course, that I never really even thought about it. I knew that there were over 1 billion people watching me skate live, but that didn't bother me. Actually, the more the better.
Our next competitor in the men's event, representing the United States, Brian Boitano.
I can remember to this day every single thought from the time I stepped onto the ice the night of the final performance till the very end of hearing the national anthem. As the music started, I started breathing, and then my blinks became very slow. And that's sort of me going into my zone. I saw these visions of all these different, it's like a grid on the ice. And I saw, okay, that's where the triple lutz goes. This is where the triple axel goes. And of course they weren't real, but it was a reminder to me that I had to take each moment as it came. Landed the triple lutz, I went onto the triple axel, and I can remember talking to myself about the pattern of the triple axel. Okay, stay tight. 4 crossovers, pump, stay over your hips, and kick through, and then I landed the triple axel. And then I said, okay, take a breath. Arms up, down, out, now go to the wall, because I had special markings on the ice where I would head to. I had landmarks. And so going into the triple flip, I knew I had to hug this wall here, and I had to swoop in at the red line here, and I had to take it straight. And I remember after hitting the 3rd jump, I said to myself, oh my God, you're doing this so well. And I told myself, shut up, you have to concentrate on the next thing. And that's what I did. I started the crossovers into the 2nd triple axel, instead of thinking, sit on the edge, kick your knee through, I mean, all these things, my brain only was able to say, please God, please God, please God, please God. And I caught myself and I'm like, no, think technical. But the tempo of please God in my brain kept escalating and quickening. And I was going in and I was telling myself, no, you have to think technical, you have to think technical. And then I kept going, please God, please God, please God, please God, please God, please God, please God. And I was in the air. And then I landed, and I was like, this is it. I hit the 2nd triple axel. This is a performance of my lifetime. At the very end where the music changes after the spread eagle and I come down and then it goes into the march. And I remember the last thing Sandra said to me was, go out and show them your soul. Be proud. And you could see my chest was as high as my forehead, and I was marching, and I was so proud. And I just remember all these things from that performance. Even the last double axel, my coach said to me, don't take anything for granted. Don't start to celebrate. I wouldn't let myself down until the very last pose, because I knew that I could make a slip and it could ruin the whole thing. You know how when you visualize what you really, really want, and in the exact perfect way that you want it? It was that, exactly.
The only technique that has worked for me is just being prepared. There's no better feeling than going to an event and you're anxious to get on the ice because you want to recreate this feeling because you know it's going to happen. You know it's going to be great.
Representing Canada, Brian Orser.
It was a dream come true Olympics for Orser, both 84 and 88. He was lights out in 84, perfect, great. And in 88 again, he turned in a phenomenal Olympic performance.
Like most performances, it's always a blur. I'll come off the ice and say, did I do my triple Salchow? Like, I'll have no idea. How was the triple axel? Did I do a double toe or a triple toe? And those are usually the best performances when you really can't remember them. You know, I have to refer to a tape. I can remember the feeling. I can remember that I finished it and I wasn't even tired.
You take Brian Boitano's performance out of that evening and you show Brian Orser's Stand Alone, and it was awesome. The only thing I could think of is 1/2 a second, not even, probably 1/10 of a second. Just turning out of that triple flip might have made the difference because it was a broken tie.
I lost the gold, is how I look at it, rather than winning the silver in 88. You know, I've gone through the what if thing many times. What if I had won? How would my life be different? You know what? You learn how great it is. I mean, my whole Olympic experience was great. I mean, there were times there and times right after that I was, of course, very disappointed and devastated. But what a great trip. And I've learned to appreciate these moments as you go through them. People remember the Battle of the Bryans. And sometimes someone will stop me and say, which one are you, the Canadian one or the American one? So if there's any consolation to the whole thing, that's it.